A dream has been conceived, and it has a name: Goshen Farm and Gardens. The Heart of Goshen is to see the gap between the father heart of God and the fatherless children of our nation filled, to see lonely children without a family to call their own set into forever families. The vision of Goshen Farm and Gardens is to foster children under the care of families and staff unto adoption, into a permanent family of their own. Each one of these children will live on Goshen Farm, a place of refuge and safety created just for them. They will develop practical life and relational skills through interacting with nature, gardening, caring for animals, and many other activities alongside families and staff. The Goshen team firmly believes the promises of God to defend the orphan and set them into families. In the midst of the journey of shepherding these children, the families and staff surrounding them will labor in prayer for these ones to be adopted. They will be actively engaging the church, families, and individuals by sharing God's heart for the orphan and calling them into partnering with God on their behalf through adoption. The end goal is to see each of these children adopted into godly families where they will grow in their identities as sons and daughters of God and sons and daughters of their new parents.
So foster care is the temporary system that's set up to come around children that some children in foster care actually reconciled back into their original families. There's a crisis that comes up for whatever reason, and these children are taken away from mom and dad. But ultimately the goal of foster care is that they would be reconciled to their mother and father, or at least into other family members within the family. Currently in the foster care system of our nation, there's over 400,000 children. Over 100,000 of those children are adoptable, and by adoptable we mean they are ready to be adopted because their parents have lost all of their parental rights. They've been terminated. Never again will this child be returned into the custody of their mother or father. In the midst of children being placed into the foster care system, not only are they losing the only mothers and fathers, the families that they've ever known, and staring into an uncertain future, sibling groups are also being separated.
So we find ourselves in a crisis overall. One, when you look at the foster care system, you have children who should be in homes, should be in families, and they're in shelters, they're in facilities where government officials and staff are the ones taking care of them. A child in the foster care system that is over the age of 5 years old, the percentage and likelihood of their adoption decreases dramatically. And so what we find is that very thing. Children will find themselves in a place where they're continually looked over, or they have some problems that are going on, and they are caught in the system until they age out at 18 years old. So this individual who's 5 years old now in the foster system grows to be 18 years old and grows out of the foster care system. If we could touch his life at 5 years old, imagine the impact that we could have on that individual's life. So in Psalm 68, we see God declares himself as father to the fatherless and setting the lonely into families. And right now in our nation, we see a massive gap between that truth that he declares and where the lives and the state of many children are today. We can look at the situation in foster care, and we can look at the state of our nation. We can look at fatherlessness, and we can say there's something majorly wrong. There's something missing. So earlier this year, we started reading a book with our home group called You and Me Forever. It's by Francis Chan, and it's a marriage book that's not really about marriage at all. It's about setting your eyes back on the Lord. And as we're going through the teachings and some of the videos, we just kept on getting hit by the point of, this life that we're living is not about our comfort. It's not about our personal dreams and what we want. It's about how we're serving the Lord.
We're in a race. We're in it together.
Right.
As a husband and a wife, as a mother and a father, and giving our all, going all out for the Lord. And so that book provoked these dangerous prayers of, Lord, send revival to our family. Lord, use us. Lord, we want to give you our all. And we had no clear outlet for what that looked like. Lord, do we go to the nations? Do we go to Africa and serve the orphan with Heidi Baker? Lord, do we go to the Middle East and preach the gospel. What do you want us to do? We want to do something radical and crazy for you. Here we are.
All of these questions pop in your head, like, what does it mean to serve you? What does it mean to go out and do this thing? And we got to the point where it was very clear the Lord was speaking to us. It's here. I want you to serve in your own backyard. I want you to look at what's around you and see the crisis and respond to it.
And we receive from the Father this gentle invitation from him to serve the fatherless on his behalf. And so we begin pondering, what does this look like for our family?
Yeah, we felt like it was a question to us, like the Lord saying, what would it look like for you to say yes to this? And we truly believe the Lord is not passive. He's not looking over this issue, but his eyes are searching all across our nation, and he is looking for ones that are going to say yes, that connect with his heart as a father and connect with the injustice and the state of our nation when it comes to fatherlessness, and answer the call, say yes to it.
Our end goal in fostering these children is that each of them would be adopted into godly families. So in the midst of fostering them and loving them and walking with them through this journey, we're praying and contending that the Father would set these lonely ones into families.
Whether it's a son or a daughter, they're coming to the understanding that they have a Father in heaven who loves them dearly. And we want to see them excel in that. We want to see them flourish in their identities in the Lord. We believe that the Lord has a family for each child that we take in. That's why we're committed, we're passionate, we're zealous for them to be able to get to a place where they feel free and enabled to excel in life with a family.
Hey guys, right now we're running with a group of like-minded families and individuals who have also said yes to God's invitation to serve the fatherless in our nation. The next step of our journey is to purchase this property right here. The cost of the land is $1.5 million, and by the hand of God, we're currently in contract to purchase it. Right now, we're looking for financial partners who would join us in this mission, who would go and ask the Lord if and how he would have you join us.
God, the Father to the fatherless, is going after his children to set them in the safety and families for which they yearn. He has heard their cries and is calling upon his people who call themselves by his name to stand with him and fight on behalf of the destinies of his children. Who will go to war with him? Who will lay down their lives and take up their crosses and follow him? The harvest is ripe and the laborers are few. God has heard the prayers of his people and is raising up an army of laborers for such a time as this. Who will say yes?